So today I'm going to talk about a common misconception about kicking and injuries, hip injuries during kicking. So some people believe that any kick that is high enough, you're going to, and I'm talking about side kick, sideline kicks, so roundhouse hook kick, side kick, specifically side kick. So if you do sideline kicks, your femur is going to hit against your pelvis and eventually you're going to get a surgery. So there's nothing you can do, that's just the way it is. Hello, I'm Paul Diachuk, founder of ElasticSteel, method of athletic conditioning, easy flexibility, and Diachuk stretching technique. Okay, so the first thing is the regular abduction in a normal person is 45 degrees. Okay, so this right here is 45 degrees. 45. Not 90, 45. That is 45 degrees. If your pelvis does not move, that leg can come up 45 degrees. Okay, which means that you shouldn't be kicking any higher than the knee. If you do any more than that, your femur, let's imagine this is my femur and this is my pelvis, is going to hit. Okay, it's going to jam and you're going to do an injury. That is an assumption, and I did talk to some people that have that assumption. So here's the deal. If your pelvis does not move, you will absolutely injure yourself. But a kick is not designed for the pelvis not to move. Okay, so the same thing with the shoulder and the shoulder girdle. In other words, the scapula and your shoulder joint. You're gonna move your arm to the side, and imagine this is my scapula right here. Okay, it's not proper anatomically demonstrating, but imagine this is scapula. Okay, so eventually my shoulder joint. This is my shoulder joint. Eventually, unless my scapula begins to rotate, my arm cannot go anymore. My scapula has to go. The arm is not designed to move without the scapula. That's why we have that scapula. That's why we have that pelvis. And the pelvis moves. Okay? We don't want to bring the leg to the point where we have now the upper leg or your femur jamming into your pelvis. That's not what we want to do, and we're not designed that way. So if the pelvis moves, the fact that the leg moves only 45 degrees doesn't matter, because the leg moves, let's say this is the pelvis right here. The leg moves 45, it can't go anymore. Well, the pelvis is going to move, and this is my kicking leg. It can move and move and move, okay? And the pelvis can move a lot. The movement of the pelvis is a supporting leg, okay? It's a supporting leg that allows the movement of the pelvis. Now, the supporting leg has to turn out. If the supporting leg does not turn out, that means that you got in your pelvis, you got the kicking leg does 45, and the supporting leg can do 45. That's 90 degrees. That means that you cannot kick higher than 90 degrees, so you can't kick higher than the groin now. Okay? The only way for that pelvis to keep moving is for the supporting leg to turn out. Okay? The second that supporting leg turned out, nothing is jammed, and now you can have your pelvis go from this position to this position. Okay? Your pelvis can completely move 90 degrees. Okay? So if your pelvis moves 90 degrees and there's no problems for the kicking legs, there's no injury. Most people don't move the pelvis. Why most people don't move the pelvis? Well, they're not trained that way. They're not trained to turn out the supporting leg. They're not trained for the flexibility and strength in the supporting leg. Now, you can have one or the other. It doesn't work. So if you just have flexible supporting leg, now the hamstrings and the adductors, lower adductor, adductor magnetosfacial fibers, and really deep adductor longus, those muscles must actually be strong and flexible. They must be strong in a deep range. Okay? So if you have the flexibility, you can take your leg to the side, right? Turn it out, bring it up here, and you can do that with your supporting leg, which means that you're demonstrating that flexibility that transfers over to the sideline kick. You can do that, but you don't have the strength in that deep range. What I mean by strength, well, taking away the strength in the kicking leg and in your core, if you take your body and you shift it to the side, how high does your leg go? Well, if you can do an open front split, for example, and your leg doesn't go all the way up, you have the flexibility because you did the open front split, but the leg doesn't go all the way up because you don't have that strength. Okay? So now you have to develop the strength. But once both of them are developed, and of course your body has to have stability and balance in that position, once that develops, the pelvis easily moves, kicking leg easily moves, and then at that point you have no injury and nothing jams into anything. Okay. Now there's a lot of people who say, well, my instructor got injured and my master got injured. It doesn't matter if you have a 100-degree black belt. You could still be training correctly. It doesn't matter if you're a champion of the world and universe or anything. You could still be kicking incorrectly. You either kick correctly or you don't kick correctly. The color of your belt means nothing. What you want means nothing. Okay? Either you do it right or you don't do it right. And some people simply don't do it right. Or what they do is they go higher than they can. In other words, between their kicking leg and supporting leg and their pelvis, the strengthening kicking leg, strengthening supporting leg, maybe they can do not a 180-degree kick, but maybe 135-degree kick. But they push it. They try to kick high. Well, of course they're going to get injured. The supporting leg is not letting it. So the kicking leg is trying to come up somehow and it's going to be jamming into the pelvis. And then the argument that I get sometimes, people say, well, this guy got injured and he's a 4th-degree black belt, 6th-degree black belt. This guy's a champion. That guy's a champion. So what? It means nothing. There's a lot of people that kick correctly, never got injured, kick very high, they never won anything, and they're not trying to get super high ranks. And then there's people that have ranks, do it incorrectly, never train properly, they get injured. Okay? So that basically answers that question of, if I'm going to be doing higher kicks, I'm going to get injured. No, if you do it properly, you have the strength for it, you have the flexibility for it. It's just like me moving the arm up here. Nothing. No injury, no pain. I can do it all day. Same thing with the kicks. I'm Paul Diachuk. Thank you for watching.